It was this time last year that we had Manly and Penrith going down to the wire. I guess a guy like Ross Conlon certainly becomes very valuable tonight.
Very important for Balmain, but they've got a number of key players. They've got Elias and Roach to take them forward up front. They've got Gale who can make breaks in the middle, and of course Gary Jack at fullback, but capping that all off is the goal kicking of Ross Conlon. Their full readout for tonight is Jack, Gartner, Conlon, Schofield, Davidson, Bridge, Gale, Hardwick, Brooks, Sirinen, Roach, Elias who's captain, and Hemsley.
I'm going to join Billy Anderson on this one. I don't like the look of this North Sydney side, minus the big star, of course, the New Zealander, Mark Graham. A lot of pressure on this North Sydney pack, especially the front rowers, McKinnon and Bella. Their full readout for this sudden death clash: Conlon, Kiss, French, Casey, Simons, Cannon, MacArthur, Smith, Jones, Martin, Bella, Teasdale and McKinnon.
Conlon is going to kick off, and the playoff is underway. Right down to Russell Gartner, and Gartner coming out towards the 10-metre line here at the famous Sydney Cricket Ground. David Brooks is listening to an interview with Chicker Norton on radio today, where he claimed Don McKinnon would quieten this man Hemsley and Roach. He said he'll take them on and he'll meet them, and don't be surprised if he beats them. Balmain kicking into a heavy pall of smoke that has come from the fireworks. In fact, the entire ground shrouded by the fallout of smoke. In fact, it's a good time to kick. This is Johnny MacArthur. He ran into a Brooks special. Jones. Oh, Hemsley went for him with a shoulder. Jones said, "Is that all you've got to offer? Come and have another go." Elias, Brooks, Sirinen, they all went in. And a penalty goes to the Bears. Crowd loving every moment of it. So this was Hemsley's second shot at the mark. Conlon finding the line. Have a look at that smoke. Edingham was reminiscent of broadcasting during an English winter. Spare me the thought. Bella now. Brooks has been, I think, in 4 or 5 tackles, and the match is only about 2 minutes old. 5 is the count on Brooks. Jones takes it up to them again. Little Hardwick was underneath him. Play back to Teasdale. Off and away from MacArthur. Out to Cannon. He puts the kick in. That'll find the line. 18 metres out from the Balmain line, in front of the Doug Walters stand. Scrum win for the Tigers. Gale. Harry Bridge pulled down by the substitute lock Richard Smith, but offside at the scrum, North Sydney, or offside at the play the ball, I should say. Penalty to be taken by Balmain. Play back to Schofield, given off to Gartner. On it goes to Elias. Elias now dummies to Gale, goes himself, and he's cut down there by a wholehearted tackle from Gavin Jones. Play back to Gale to the right for Conlon. Wide ball for Schofield. Short pass for Jack. Jack calls him inside. Gartner does that. Goes inside the 32-metre line. Tackle just outside the quarter. Playing the back to Conlon. This is Bridge. Now it's Gale. Gale steps off the left and goes to the quarter. Tackle by Smith. Over the top, McKinnon. Roach. Back to Roach. It's a penalty, is it not? Now he's said play on. Hardwick. Away now for Davidson. Davidson goes for the corner. And he's over the touchline. In fact, he's taken the corner post, which is part of the touch in goal area. So it's a 22-place kick to restart. Well, by golly, I thought there should have been a penalty here for North Sydney. Roach appeared to give the ball to Hemsley. It came off Hemsley's hand and went back to Roach. And I would have thought Roach was offside.
Graham, it's been a long time since North Sydney have been at the cricket ground in a game such as this. Do you think it's going to be unusual for them and difficult to play here?
Good football by the Tigers, Graham. Scotty Gale. Gale's up to the 32-metre line.
They're going to have enormous difficulties right now, Bill, because Balmain Got to go all the numbers out wide. This is where they need the ball. As I said, they're coming up with some poor passes out wide. They should have had an early ball then to give Conlon the opportunity to put Davidson away.
This is David Brooks now. Bumping his way over. 22-metre line, Davidson. Davidson. Yes, it's a try. Scored by John Davidson in front of the M.A. Noble corner. Well, David Brooks was the man. He absolutely steamrolled his way over the defence. Have a look at him again. Here he comes to the 32-metre line, and bingo! Straight over the top of Richard Smith, and John Davidson was sprinting down that touchline and goes into the corner in front of the Noble stand.
David Brooks has been the form player for Balmain in the last 2 weeks. You can see here he was able to get a tremendous pass away. He broke one tackle. 2 North Sydney players committed themselves to stop him. That allowed him to slip the ball onto Davidson. Fullback Conlon was nowhere to be seen. Mark Cannon came across in cover defence, but he was too late.
So John Davidson scores the first points of the match. Ross Conlon has this attempted conversion from there, just outside the 22 and a metre in. That's the angle from behind him. Off the boot, he's hooked it. No goal for Conlon. No change in the score. 4-0 in favour of the Tigers. John MacArthur just being checked out by, I would think, the club doctor. Could be some problems there with the neck area of John MacArthur. They win the scrum. The fullback comes in, Conlon, but again they're running across the ground, North Sydney. Here's Cannon now, wrapping it around the same way, but they're outnumbered out there.
Well, what's happening? The Balmain defence is moving up very quickly out in the centres, and Mark Cannon's the man for North that's got to find some answers. He's being shut out. He's outside man. He can't get the ball to them. He's got to find some variety in his play. Now, you can beat that sort of tactic in defence if you've got the right tactics in attack. He can bring a man short off the outside. He can throw an inside pass, or he can kick in behind the defensive line as it comes up quick.
So it's away now to MacArthur. That was knocked backwards, and Casey comes up with the ball, playing in the number 3 jumper. Gets to the 22. MacArthur! MacArthur! He's going to score! Yes, MacArthur scores for North Sydney! The Bears have gone in with the equaliser, and most definitely they will convert from right in front. Johnny MacArthur. Well, at one moment he was having his neck examined. Oh, that little pass there to Casey had a question mark on it. I didn't see that originally. But that was a great ball by Casey to MacArthur. He got away from Gary Jack. He kangaroo hopped out of it. And Johnny MacArthur, the former Magpie, scores for the Bears.
Well, I don't know which is Steve Roach's bad shoulder, but he did miss the tackle here. You'll see here he had a chance to line Casey up, and he just couldn't hold him. Casey juggled the ball. He then beat Kerry Hemsley, the other prop forward. Got a good pass away to MacArthur. Now, Gary Jack was running a bad angle here. He was running backwards instead of forwards. That caused him to miss MacArthur, who used the fend, and John MacArthur's got plenty of pace. He comes round to improve his position.
So there he is, the Johnny MacArthur from Western Suburbs, only 22. And Paul Conlon will take the attempted conversion. 15 metres out. And this is just what Balmain didn't need. They didn't need to let North Sydney put their nose in front, because the Bears, well, they love wheeling and dealing. There's the conversion. North Sydney lead in the playoff by 6-4. It's now with Brooks, and Brooks is tackled 30 metres out from the North Sydney line. Ball played back to Elias. It comes on to Roach, and Roach looks for Hemsley, finds him, and Hemsley, oh, going in over the top was McKinnon, but Hemsley will play the ball. Back to Elias. He sweeps back to the blind, to Bridge, and then to Conlon. Conlon cuts them out. It came off a North Sydney hand. 6 more tackles when Hardwick picks it up. Hardwick goes back towards the 22, and Smith hangs on around the ankles.
North Sydney under a lot of pressure here. They need a mistake. They need Balmain to make an error.
Gary Bridge away from dummy half. Bumps off one. Gets away from 2. Beats a third. And he's pulled down by a bloke who was lying on the ground. Richard Smith. Elias pumps away at the blind side. It's Roach to Conlon. Conlon to Gardner. Gardner goes for the corner. He's pulled down 5 metres out from the line. Played back to big Sheridan. Away to Conlon. Conlon decides to go himself. One-handed pass to Gardner. Swept across the back of the ruck to Brooks. Brooks is pulled down. No, he's not. Brooks goes for the line. And he's pulled down a metre out. Play in the Paddington Hill corner. Playing it back to Benny Elias. Big ball to Scott Gale. They came up quickly. He got the ball to Conlon. It came off Gale. And Norths have got it through Big Don McKinnon.
That was the error they desperately needed.
Big Don McKinnon was lying on the ground. He'd made a tackle.
And now what they can't afford to do is to make one themselves. They've got the ball back here from that error. Oh, here's a great break by MacArthur.
And it's gone on now. Out to Andrew Simons, who's tackled only a couple of metres into Balmain's territory. Martin Bella goes to dummy half. The Bears and the Tigers battling for the semi-finals. Away now for Martin. Martin tackled on the halfway line. Pulled down there by Steve Roach. And a couple of these big Balmain forwards. They're just, at the moment, slowly getting back to be 5 metres onside. Ball played there by Big McKinnon. This is Richard Smith. Short pass, and that's Gavin Jones. Held by Conlon. Away now for MacArthur. MacArthur's kick. That's a better one. He's put it into the vacant space. It's going back into the big in goal here at the cricket ground. Davidson comes out to meet the defence. He's got Gary Jack with him. Sends the Australian fullback down the ground, but he's tackled 6 metres inside the 22 line. Scott Gale. Pulled down, or he wasn't pulled down, but Bella will get the credit for the tackle. Schofield passes away for Bridge. And Bridge is tackled now by Martin and put the number 10 for North Sydney down as doing plenty of work. Played by Bridge to Elias. Back to the blind side for Roach. And Roach shoulders off Martin, who goes in again with Casey and Bella. Roach didn't like the treatment Casey dealt out to him. Away it goes to Gale and on to Bridge. Over now to Schofield. Schofield goes away from Smith. Smith pursues him and pulls him down.
Les Kiss badly out of position again. He's got to come up much more quickly. He's just holding back when Balmain spread the ball.
One by Balmain, away to Bridge and on to Conlon. Conlon cuts out Sky, but Gary Jack has put himself into a hole. But what a great tackle by Conlon. The ball goes to the blind. Bridge turns it inside for Conlon to come back to the open. Back to Gary Jack. Gary Jack is a metre from the line. The Tigers throwing it on now, trailing 6-4. Gale, Schofield, intercepted by Conlon, but he's offside. Conlon offside at the play the ball. There it is, the pass goes out. There's no question that he was inside the 5. Sheridan will play it 20 metres away from the Balmain line. Away now for Steve Roach. Turns it inside for David Brooks. Brooks is up to the 32. Finds Benny Elias. Elias is pulled down by MacArthur. Play back to Hemsley. He was supposed to be dummy half. The ball went through his legs. It's gone on to Gale and Conlon. Conlon's running with the ball. Bridge goes inside. Cuts a path back towards the centre. Hemsley gives the ball to Benny Elias. He crosses the halfway. Finds Hemsley. Then it finds Gale. Gale's got a ring of defence around him. Gets the ball back for David Brooks and he launches himself at the North Sydney defence. 5 tackles gone now for the Black and Golds. Away it comes for Benny Elias. He puts the kick in and it's going to sit up nicely for Conlon. Conlon comes out to the 10-metre line. Chased by Elias, fends him off, beats Hardwick. But there again is an example of what I was talking about with Paul Conlon. He's not 100%. You didn't have to be a Rhodes Scholar to work that out. He was under that cloud, as I said early in the commentary. But as he fielded this ball, he didn't seem to put any pace at all into his work as he took it back. He was going crabwise. And in fact, he lost ground with the ball. 5 tackles gone for Balmain as the ball is kicked by Gale, but that's an ordinary kick. And Les Kiss comes back outside the 22. Pile on the pace, Les.
Oh, he's got space
here. He comes outside the 32. He goes away from Sheridan. He's over the 40. He's over the half. He's gone 15 metres down into Balmain's territory. Les Kiss brings the North Sydney fans to their feet. Now they spin it wide. MacArthur's turned inside. Finds Casey now. Casey tackled by Hardwick. Play back to Kiss. Richard Smith. McKinnon. Teasels the dummy half. Smith again. Kiss. Away from 2. Got the ball away for Teasdale. Teasdale tackled just outside the 22 line. And only 35 seconds of the first half remaining. They'll probably go for the air. It's a drop goal attempt by Cannon. It doesn't look bad. It's a goal. It's a drop goal for Mark Cannon. 7 points to 4 in favour of North Sydney. Mark Cannon politely putting it over. And there it is, 7-4 in favour of the North Sydney side. There's the siren sounding, and Michael Stone calls a halt. 7 points to 4 in favour of North Sydney, the half-time scoreline in the NEC big game playoff for position number 5 in the Winfield Cup from the Sydney Cricket Ground.
Wayne Pearce, a big announcement during the week, Ray Price saying, if the selectors want me, I'm available for the Kangaroo Tour. How did you view that?
Well, he obviously feels that they may need some more experience on the tour. But I really think the selectors will use the tour to blood younger players, and there's plenty of young guys going around, but you know, the offer's there from Pricey if they feel they need more experience.
Time on. Balmain from left to right. Don McKinnon goes back with it. Roach pulls him down. 25 metres out from the North Sydney line. It's Martin, the second rower. Jones. Out comes the ball, knocked on by McKinnon. And this scrum will be a Balmain feed, 25 metres out. Tigers win it. Out to Bridge. Long pass to Schofield. Schofield tries to get away from Casey, but Casey's defence is pretty sound. He topped the tackle count against Parramatta when we had them on television at the stadium, and he got the game ball that night for North's. Casey, the centre. Play back to Gardner, given to Hardwick. And Hardwick is pulled down there by Fred Teasdale. Bella just hobbling back to position. He looks okay now as it goes from Gale across to Sirinen. Sirinen, to my way of thinking, has been their most dangerous attacker. The ball goes through from Jack and is picked up by Davidson. Davidson comes to MacArthur, and MacArthur takes him over the touchline. Good tackle by the little halfback. NEC replay. MacArthur, of course, has been used a lot as a fullback and a lot as a winger.
Well, that was a very good covering tackle, the sort of tackle you'd expect to see from a player of his calibre in cover defence. He gave Davidson enough room to try to beat him on the outside, and when he did, he just cut him down and pushed him into touch.
That'll be played by Smith, the lock, in 21. Now Bella tackled 5 metres inside the 22 line. North Sydney at the moment 38 minutes away from a semi-final appointment with Manly. This is Gary Jack. Scott Gale. The Tigers with the work to do. Gale did well. The ball goes to Schofield, and he's tackled by Casey. Players just outside the 22. Played back to Gardner, given to Gale, now to Roach. Roach comes to Martin. Bella goes in with Martin, and they pull the big fellow down. Elias dummies, goes himself, but it's a penalty to Balmain. Right in front. Well, he's going right across the ground, but it is practically in front for Ross Conlon. Seven points to 4 in favour of the Bears. Conlon only about 15 metres out. None from 3. They've all been difficult shots, but he hasn't been kicking like the Ross Conlon we've grown to know. 15 out, practically in front. There it goes, and no troubles for Conlon. The scoreline, North Sydney 7, Balmain 6. Davidson, 7 metres out from the North Sydney line. Kevin Hardwick Puts the head down. He's renowned for burrowing under tackles. They're only 2 metres out. Has the time arrived for Balmain? Yo! Scott Gale had it and put it down. This was how close it was. Scott Gale had it, put it down, and it's coming out for a 22-place kick to restart.
Even though this second half's only been going 8 minutes, I think the time's almost arrived when North Sydney coach Brian Norton's got to think about making some replacements. His team's making a lot of mistakes, and that's generally an indicator that they're tired.
The centre, Casey, is having a finger that jumped out. He's the trainer and he are going through a fair bit of agony. Matter of fact, I think the trainer's in more pain than Casey. Ooh. And he's up to near the halfway line. Played back to Martin, away from MacArthur. MacArthur goes himself. MacArthur! MacArthur! Still going. Gets the ball to Kiss. Kiss to the 22 line. Pulled down by Gary Jack. Played back to Richard Smith. Away to Cannon. On to Conlon. Conlon to Martin. Martin, can he get it away? Bella knocks on. Scrum to go down on the Balmain 22 line.
Replacement on for North Sydney is
North Sydney with a replacement on in 17, Graham.
Clayton Friend out there in 17. Just got keeping my eye on him now for Johnny MacArthur, the man that made that last break.
Played back to Schofield, away now for Gale to Hardwick. Hardwick gets under Jones and he goes to the 22 line. And Jones is hurt. He's hurt that right forearm as Elias stands in a tackle. The ball to Gale, then to Bevan. Bevan's to the 10-metre line.
They're gone here, North. I don't think they can hang on.
They're 10 metres out. It's gone from Scott Gale back into Kevin Hardwick, and Hardwick is held by Conlon for one and by Kiss for another. Away for Benny Elias. He puts the drop goal over. Yes, it's a goal for Benny Elias. 7-0 between the Tigers and the Bears at the SCG. The drop goal by Benny Elias on the NEC replay. 7-7. What would that pay on footy tap? Well, Gavin Jones has done his right arm. Hansen has gone on for Jones. Graham, I saw the touch judge talk to the trainer. Take us through it.
Well, I think you'll find that he'll ask the North Sydney replacement. Martin Bella was the man, the information given to the touch judge. The touch judge ordered Bella to leave the field. North Sydney realised that Jones was in terrible trouble. The referee, as you can see, Mick Stone now saying to Martin Bella, "You're off."
Well, Martin Bella has been told that he is the man replaced. So he has to go.
Well, they're down now to 12 men, so they're going to have to get someone off the bench and on quickly.
Conlon kicks off, and it's Scott Gale who'll bring it back. And he's out to the 10-metre line. I can only assume from what we just saw unfold that the North's captain for the night didn't step in there and crack the whip. Filipana is coming out. Filipana has gone on. Sirenen plays the ball. Benny Elias over the halfway line. He finds support. Bevan gets the long ball away. Gardner takes it on the second bounce. Inside 22. It's gone to Schofield. Schofield's looking inside, and he's held by the Bears and put into touch. Oh, it's a thriller minute at the cricket ground. Benny Elias, he opened them up from dummy half. As the forwards become tired, it's more and more possible for players like Elias to make inroads. And this was Balmain letting the ball do the work. Cannon's gone to lock and Filipina has gone to 5/8. It's 7 points all in the playoff. Heavens above, I'm trying to think. I believe it was 78 when we had draw and draw and draw again. Martin, 32 metres away from the North Sydney line. Don McKinnon, that's good ground there. And as I said to you earlier, as the forwards are starting to tire, more ground is being made from simple dummy half plays. Away from Friend, it's gone to Casey. Now it's with Cannon. Cannon is tackled 10 metres on his side of the halfway. 5 tackles gone for the Bears. From Casey, he switches it back to Conlon. Conlon puts the kick in. Down it goes. Played at by Gary Jack. That is all onside now. And he's tackled by Richard Smith and by Clayton Friend. In the event of a draw, it's 10 minutes by 10 minutes, right here and now. And of course, if it was still tied, they'd come back on Thursday. So the ball is played by John Davidson, and it's now with Scott Gale. He puts the little kick over. Regathers. Here's Gale. He kicks again. Gale. He's chasing hard. I think he'll do it. He did. Scott Gale scores a sensational try. Probably the best individual try I've seen in rugby league television. That is sensational from Gale. That's not a gale, it's a hurricane and a tornado, all wrapped up into one. Have a look at him, the former schoolboy star. Decided to take it all between the teeth. He kicked and regathered. He kicks and he regathers again. Take it, Billy Anderson.
Well, it was realised here by Scott Gale that North Sydney had no cover defence. We'll see on the next replay that Clayton Friend, the half-back, was at second marker. Gale chipped over the top, caught the ball on the full. Now it was a battle between him and the fullback Conlon. He didn't have the support, so he decided to try the kick again, put it into some open space. It was a race between he and the number 3, Casey, for the ball. Gale's one of the fastest men in the game. He got there just short of the line, but his momentum carried him over.
That's freaky stuff from Scott Gale. Well, Ross Conlon will take the attempt at conversion. Sometimes you say things that you wish you could suck back, but by golly, I tell you what, I can't think of a more classical individual try that I've seen in broadcasting rugby league over 21 years. That's unbelievable stuff under the pressure that his team was under. Conlon from 18 metres out and 15 in from touch. He lets it go. It's good. It's a good kick by Conlon. Balmain 13, the Bears are 7. This is Gartner. Well, Norths are probably everybody's sentimental favourite, if there's such a way of describing them. As Benny Elias makes one of his burrowing runs to the... Oh, and he's been dropped heavily. Benny is hurt back down the ground as Gale is tackled by Martin. There was a very heavy tackle on Benny Elias. He's still on the ground. Steve Roach hits the ball up now. 9 metres out from the North Sydney line. The attention has gone out for Benny Elias. He looks okay. Gale, out it goes to Bevan. Bevan taken by Casey. Well, this man in the centres for North tonight has made a tremendous contribution as it comes from Hemsley to Benny Elias. He goes for the drop goal, the little bloke. I tell you what, there wasn't very much wrong with Benny Elias. Oh, that was a Lazarus from Elias. 14-7 in favour of the Tigers. Well, can't quite believe that Benny Elias could recover as quickly as that. On the halfway line, it's come to Friend, and now it's with Hansen. Good strong run, not gaining much ground, but he went in with plenty of purpose, and it was Elias trying to take the front on tackle. From Friend, it's gone out now for Richard Smith. He gets between them. They're all very tired. There's got to be a penalty if they don't score a try. This is Martin. Martin now... Well, he's ruled 5 tackles. Heavens above, I would have thought the Bears were entitled to a penalty for a player pulled back.
Well, they are now. Ross Conlon was 15 metres offside.
Now it's gone out for Hansen in 25. He kicks ahead. He kicks ahead. Bevan will get there first. Well, I was talking about one of the players supporting. Here goes the touch judge. There was a player supporting the man with the ball who was pulled back out of the play. Not on that particular play. That was just a replay of the kick by Hansen. This is Paul Sirenen. Out comes the ball, and here comes a penalty. And Conlon is going to shoot for it. Well, it's well within his range. He's 45 metres out, and there's the replay of the incident with Simon Brockwell on Paul Sirenen, and the penalty goes to the Tigers. 7.5 minutes of time in a sensational playoff in many respects. In my memory, it will always be the one in which Scott Gale scored one of the best solo tries that I've ever seen. 2 out of 5 for Conlon. But of course, all the drama that led up to it, Graham pulling out almost at the ground tonight. In fact, I'm sure that was the case with Mark Graham. And then the Bears in front and clinging on until they couldn't last any longer. Conlon's kick, it's coming around, and it's just, he's put his foot on the dead ball line. It'll be a line dropout. Bad luck for Conlon. Here he is. His feet might be just out of the camera's range. No, they weren't. Scoreline 14-7 in favour of the Tigers. Well, that's a very shallow dropout. And Sirenen, oh dear, this boy has come ahead in 1986. Roach has played strongly tonight, but my goodness, I think Sirenen has probably been the one that's caused more troubles to North from the point of view of Balmain forwards. Gale comes from open to blind and picks up Schofield. Schofield takes the ball to ground. Tackled by Hansen. Played back to Gartner. It's gone to Gale. Gale to Makito. Makito, he takes them on. It's on the 10-metre line out from the North Sydney goal line. Ball played back to Benny Elias. Now it's with Gale. The run around is on. Elias. Oh, flick pass for Gary Jack. Fancy stuff. 5 tackles gone for the Tigers. Benny Elias swings it back for Gale to go for the drop goal. And no goal for Gale. It'll come out to the 22 for the restart. As the final minutes of this one tick away as Hemsley plays it, it's gone through 2 sets of hands to Conlon. Conlon comes back on an arc-like run inside the 22 line. And he's put down and tackled there by Kiss for 1, Brockwell for another, and Hansen a 3rd. 5 tackles gone. As Mike Marquito goes from dummy half, spins it back for Brooks. Brooks goes towards the line, not held, and he's put down. That's, well, he's indicating 6 more tackles. He's indicating 6 more as Gale feeds it away for Paul Sirenen, and Sirenen is put on the ground for one of the few times, really, that the North forwards have been able to actually put the big fellow on the deck. Elias is the dummy half. The ball has come from his grasp and gone back to a Balmain player. And referee Michael Stone is ordering the knock-on. Here's Conlon getting a pass to Schofield. Schofield to Gartner. Gartner goes for the corner, but he's in the touch 2 metres out. Crowd of just over 10,000 here tonight. I think one has to say that they're in, keeping in mind the importance of the 2 matches, proves conclusively the more you take the game to the public, the more the public will respond. Now, Canterbury played Illawarra last night in a match that really had no bearing on anything, and it drew just in excess of 10,000. That's a case of taking the game to the public. Here tonight, a match with everything in the balance, and it's just exceeded 10,000. And the siren sounds the end of a very, very gutsy performance by Norths, and in turn, a magnificent season for the Avco Bears. And then, of course, a tremendously talented performance from several of these Balmain players, with Scott Gale scoring that freakish try, Benny Elias leading by example. Balmain 14, North Sydney 7. Davidson and Gale the tries for Balmain. Conlon 2 goals, and Elias 2 drop goals for Balmain. And North's Johnny MacArthur, before replaced, had a tremendous game. Paul Conlon, courageous, kicked a goal, and Cannon, the 5'8", kicked a drop goal.